In an election that is less about who is voting for whom, the final results may come down to who actually shows up to vote. The candidates for U.S. Senate face several obstacles keeping people away from the polls in the next 2 weeks, including 2 federal holidays, a surge in COVID-19 cases, and historical lack of interest in runoff elections, although early voting numbers in this election are just barely trailing what we saw in the general election. We released our exclusive 11 Alive Survey USA poll today showing how voters are dealing with these obstacles. 42% say they're voting in person early. 25% say they will wait until election day to vote. 32% say they're voting absentee. And 11 Alive political analyst Dr. Andra Gillespie says when people vote could rather be influenced by holiday travel this season.
I think that because this race is taking place right after the holidays where people have, a legitimate opportunity to be distracted and perhaps a legitimate opportunity to be away from home, even in the middle of the pandemic, we see that some people are taking steps to make sure that they cast their ballot before they have an opportunity to forget.
Our poll shows both Democratic candidates leading their Republican rivals in the Senate runoffs, but Dr. Gillespie says they're still too close to call. Democrat Jon Ossoff has a 5 percentage point lead over incumbent Republican Senator David Perdue, which is within the margin of error. And Democrat Reverend Raphael Warnock is leading Republican Senator Kelly Loeffler by 7 percentage points in the race to fill the remainder of former Senator Johnny Isakson's term. Our 11 Alive Survey USA poll asked why people are choosing not to vote in the runoff election. Ahead tonight at 6, why Dr. Gillespie says Republicans may not have counted on conservatives sitting out the election because they think the process is rigged. 11 Alive is committed to bringing you accurate information and perspective about the election. Check our special voter resource guide at 11alive.com/vote for polling, waiting times, fact checks of political ads, and much more.